John 19. Then Pilatus therefore took Yeshua and scourged him, and the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and arrayed him in a purple garment. And they came to him and said, Rejoice thou, King of the Jews! And they were giving beatings to him. And Pilatus went out again, and saith to them, Behold, I bring him out to you, that ye may know that I find no crime in him. Yeshua therefore came out, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple garment. And Pilatus saith to him, Behold the man! When therefore the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him! Crucify him! Pilatus saith to them, Take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no crime in him. The Yehudim answered him, We have a law, and by that law he ought to die, because he made himself a son of the God. That's no such thing in the law. When Pilatus therefore heard this saying, he was the more afraid, and he entered into the praetorium again, and saith to Yeshua, Whence art thou? But Yeshua gave him no answer. Pilatus therefore saith to him, Speakest thou not to me? Knowest thou not that I have power to release thee, and have power to crucify thee? Yeshua answered him, Thou wouldst have no power against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore, he that delivered me to thee hath greater sin. Upon this, Pilatus sought to release him. But the Yehudim cried out, saying, If thou release this man, thou art not Caesar's friend, Caesar's friend. Everyone that maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. When Pilatus therefore heard these words, he brought Yeshua out and sat down on the judgment seat at a place called Litostroton, but in Hebrew, Gabbatah. Now, it was the preparation of the Passover. It was about the 6th hour. And he saith to the Yehudim, Behold your king! They therefore cried out, Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him! Pilatus saith to them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. Then therefore he delivered them to them. He delivered him to them to be crucified. They took Yeshua therefore, and he went out, bearing the cross for himself, to the place called the place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha. That's interesting. In verse 17, he bears the cross himself. It points out that, at least for some of the journey, he bears the cross himself. I think the synoptics say that a man from Cyrene was recruited. Crucified. Okay. Yeshua bears the cross himself. Is a John thing. John must have wanted us to know that he could carry the cross himself. And did. Where they crucified him, and with him 2 others, on either side one, and Yeshua in the midst. And Pilatus wrote a title also, and put it on the cross. And there was written, Yeshua of Nazareth, the King of the Yehudim. The title therefore read This title therefore read many of the Yehudim, for the place where Yeshua was crucified was near to the city. And it was written in Hebrew and in Latin and in Greek. The chief priests of the Yehudim therefore said to Pilatus, Write not the King of the Yehudim, but that he said, I am the King of the Yehudim. Pilatus answered, What I have written, I have written. The soldiers therefore, when they had crucified Yeshua, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also the coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said therefore to one another, Let us not rend it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled, which saith, They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. These things therefore the soldiers did, but there were standing by the cross of Yeshua his mother and his mother's sister, Mariam the woman of Clopas, and Mariam Magdalene. When Yeshua therefore saw his mother and the disciples standing by whom he loved, he saith to his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then saith he to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour the disciple took her to his own home. After this, Yeshua, knowing that all things are now finished, that the scripture might be accomplished, saith, I thirst. There was set there a vessel full of vinegar, so they put a sponge full of the vinegar upon hyssop, and brought it to his mouth. When Yeshua therefore had received the vinegar, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. Now, I'm not sure if the other Gospels say that the I thirst bit. Let's have a look. I'll check it out sometime. I thirst. Is that in John only? The Yehudim, therefore, because it was the preparation, that the body should not remain on the cross upon the Shabbat, for the day of that Shabbat was a high day, asked of Pilatus that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. The soldiers therefore came and broke the legs of the first and of the other that was crucified with him. But when they came to Yeshua and saw that he was already dead, they broke not his legs. Howbeit, one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and straightway there came out blood and water. And he that hath seen hath borne witness, and his witness is true, and he knoweth that he saith true things, that ye also may believe. For these things became, that the scripture might be fulfilled, a bone of him shall not be broken. That's spoken of the Passover lamb, that a bone of the Passover will not be broken. And again another scripture saith, They shall look on him whom they pierced. And after these things, Yosef of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yeshua, but secretly for fear of the Yehudim, asked of Pilatus that he might take away the body of Yeshua, and Pilatus gave him leave. He came therefore, and took away his body. And there came also Nicodemus, who at the first came to him by night, bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 litras. So they took the body of Yeshua and bound it in linen cloths with the spices, as the custom of the Yehudim is to bury. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb, wherein was never man yet laid. There then, because of the Yehudim's preparation, for the tomb was near at hand, they laid Yeshua. And here endeth John chapter 19 in the Lawful Literal version. Thank you for listening.